Okay, a little about myself. Yeah, I'm Akash Ganesan, chess grandmaster, 24 years old. I started playing chess at the age of 8. My dad introduced me to this royal game. My first biggest chess achievement was when I became the Indian national senior chess champion at the age of 16. And I finished ahead of so many grandmasters. So the thing to note was like I was not even a title player at that point. So yeah, that was my first biggest achievement. In the next year, I won the Commonwealth Junior Gold Medalist. And then I went to focus on my studies. I went to study engineering. I completed electronics and communication engineering. And then in 2018, I came back to chess. And yeah, in the last year before just the COVID breakout just happened, I became a grandmaster. So yeah, now let's go back to the topic of today's session, as you guys must be so interested about. That is principles of chess openings. You guys must be aware there are three stages in the chess game. The first one is opening, and the next is middle game, and the end game. Yeah. So today we're going to look at the opening stage. Do you guys know the fact that there are tons and tons of opening theories? Even the world champion like Magnus Carlsen cannot remember everything. So now you may have a question actually, like what is the difference between opening theory and opening principles? Let me give you a simple example, like day-to-day example. The food we eat is like an opening principle. You have to eat food to survive in life. Whereas the opening theories are like the food we chose to eat. Like you can eat any type of food. That is the basic thing. Like opening theories, there are hundreds and hundreds of opening theories, and not every theory you can remember to the end. So that is why it is very important for us to learn the opening principles in the beginning stage of your career. As even when you forget the opening theory, which tend to happen in the most cases, these principles can guide you and make the best out of you in the opening stage of the game. Okay. Okay, now let's move directly to the 5 rules for which you guys have been waiting. So let me share my screen. Mm, so, so these are the 5 principles, like the things. If you just, I can guarantee you that if you follow these 5 principles, you won't get into a problem in the opening stage of the game. Even if you forget the theories which you're going to be learning in the next part of your journey. So let's look at the 5 ones. First one is center control, and the second one is development of minor pieces, that is your bishop and knight. Third is king safety, it's quite important, you all know that. Fourth one is coordination of your pieces, that is like how well the pieces act together. And the last one is connecting your major pieces. Your major pieces are queen and rooks, also king. Okay, let's directly dive into the first rule, center control. Yeah, okay. So in chess, so what is center? Like why do we need to control the center and why is it a principle? So if you ask me, like who is the person whom you listen to? The person who is more dominating, the person who can influence you, and the person has to be like clear and in his views, right? So it is similar to the thing. The person who is standing in the center of the chessboard is the person who is going to influence the whole chessboard. So if the squares like e4, d4, e5, d5. If you guys don't know like what is the squares, I will just explain it in simple. The vertical ones are the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see that, right? And the horizontal one is the ABCD thing till H. So that's how you write out the notations. E4 is the pawn moving to the 4th rank, yeah? Okay. So E4, D4 and E5, D5. These 4 squares are the central squares and you need to control them in the opening stage of the game. Okay. So I'm seeing here, like you can see the moves, right? D4, knight f3, knight c3, h4, e4. Yeah. Let me discuss about these moves. Okay. Okay. You guys must be aware that white is the first person to make a move. So always white has a slight edge in his starting phase of the game. So if you're not controlling the opening central squares, you just tend to lose the advantage. That is what I'm saying, that h4. And the question mark symbol represents the mistake. It simply loses your advantage in the opening if you're making some unnecessary pawn moves in the beginning of the game, which also we will cover in the later phase of the game. Okay, let's go to the best move here, which is e4 and d4. And the exclamatory mark signs is shows like it's a good move. After making this first move, you are controlling the central e4 square as well as the d5 square at the same time. E4 square is shows like you have absolute control over this square and relative control over the d5 square. What I mean by the absolute control is if you place a piece over the particular square, you have an absolute control over that square. And the e4 pawn, which can capture in the diagonal ways, has control over the d5 and f5 square. F5 square doesn't come under the central top four squares. So we are really focusing on the center squares right now. And you have the d5 square is a little bit under control, but black can play d5 moves like this and counter it in the center. Okay, let's look the next move. So next best move I would say is d4. Now it's the same thing, like you are getting the control of the central square, the d4 one, and also relatively getting the control over the e5 square right now. And now the thing here is black cannot play e5 here because we can capture it for free. Whereas in the previous situation, if we take the pawn, queen comes out and take on d5. So from my perspective, these two are the best moves in the positions. And the third one is an interesting one, which is knight to f3. Now you guys can think like, now you're also controlling the two important squares in the center, but why I am just putting it as an interesting, the exclamatory mark followed by the question mark shows it as an interesting move. It's because you are just controlling it in a relative manner, not in an absolute manner. Whereas in the first move like e4 and d4, you're controlling the taking the control of the d4 with your own piece. That is the main difference here. But it's still a good move. Like you are getting a little bit of control on the sun. You can always transpose it with d4 moves in the next, like this. Yeah. Okay. Next is knight c3. Okay. Now if you see it, it is the first question mark and next an exclamatory mark, which means it is a dubious move. Let me say why is it a dubious move? Yeah. Because even though you are controlling it in a relative manner with the d5 square and e4 square, black can counter it with the move d5. So what happens is like after you have played d5, now you don't have any control over it. Black has taken over the d5 square with his pawn, and he has an absolute control over d5 square and a relative control over e4 square. Okay. Okay, what happens if you make a move like this? Just pushing it something far away from your center and you're just activating one piece, the rook. The thing is simply black will capture his center with e5 or d5 and he will take over the initiative. As I said, when you start the opening, white has a slight edge. If you make a move like this, you just lose the advantage right away. Okay, that's the thing about center control. And we will keep talking about the center in the next upcoming rules also. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next one is development of minor pieces. Okay, before that, if you guys have any questions, you can just ask in the previous one. You can just raise your hands. Okay, 1 second. Let me figure out how to unmute them.
Sir.
Yeah,
I used to take chess classes.
sorry.
Yes. So you're able to hear us?
Yeah, yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
Yeah.
sir, I have arranged my chessboard, sir. I have arranged.
One.
Oh,
Yeah.
sir. I have arranged in my chessboard all the keys. Sir,
Yeah, yeah. Can you guys hear me now? You guys can type on chat. I will just read the chat right now. Yeah, yeah. You can ask the question in chat about the sentence first. I will just explain it if you. Okay, let me unmute some people. Okay, yeah, Shivna Shah. Can
yes,
you,
sir.
yeah, what do you want? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay, you have
Yes.
raised your hand. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, sir. So this is Revansh's. So thing is like we are unable to understand because your document and the board that keeps on switching. So we are unable to follow like from where you are speaking and what is getting moved where.
Okay,
So
okay. I have
so if
closed
you
the
can
document.
parallelize that so
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
can
I've
look
done
at
it.
the
I've done
board,
it. Yeah.
and then we can also start from the rules because that was like completely we were unable to understand how it is going about.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I will just. Okay, let me do that. Okay, cool. Yes, Sabyatak. What is your question?
I forgot to load.
Okay, Danu.
Sir, how to play chess? I have keeping after the elephant horse, then the.
Yeah, yeah, I will show you in chessboard. You can just arrange it, seeing to it. Okay. Okay, I will just go ahead. Like, if you guys can see the board clearly, let me know again.
Sir,
If
in my chessboard there are no files, no documents.
okay, okay, okay. Just now
So
you
I
will just see the
don't
chessboard,
understand
right?
what you were saying that time.
Okay, okay. 1 second. Yeah.
Sir, after the elephant, I keep the horse, then the mandari coin, then the king, then the queen, then in the other side mandari, then the horse, then the elephant. In the second side also.
Okay, can you guys see the chessboard right now? 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, right now, can you guys see it? Is it visible? Okay. So as we were talking, like some of you couldn't see because of the document, I will just go once again from the previous rule. If you want anything, just type it out. Okay, so yeah, as we were saying, like the first thing is center control. Yeah, the rule one is center control. The e4, d4, e5, d5. These four squares are the center things, and you can gain the first best move is e4, which you can control with the absolute control with your pawn, the piece. Absolute control is the one which you keep it for your piece, and the relative control is the piece controlling it. So here the e4 pawn is straight away controlling your e4 square, and the e4 pawn is also relatively controlling the d5 square. And yeah, d4. Now d4 pawn is getting the relative absolute control over the d4 square and relative control over the e5 square. Now, as I was saying last time, the knight f3 is knight to f3 is only getting control over the relative square. That's why it's an interesting move, not a good move. And yeah, but it is similar to knight f3, but the problem here is we are not getting the relative control also because black can play d5 right away. So yeah, and the last one, if you're not getting control over the important central squares, you tend to lose your white side advantage. It moves like this, black can play e5, and yeah, you don't have any choice. Like you are now black actually. Now black is the one who has the initiative right now. Okay, so this is the central control, and let's go on to the next one, which is development of minor pieces. Okay, so guys, if you guys are not like very new to chess, it may be little difficult right now. One second. So you just bear with me, like just learn the rules. Whenever you learn the basics of chess, you can just continue after that. Okay. These rules are like as I said, is a predefined rules. You can learn anytime and you can apply in your openings. It's not like it's going to be changing like opening theories. So next one is development of minor pieces. As I said, the minor pieces are bishop and knight, right? So in this position, like if you start with the game e4, one second. Why I'm not entering the controls? I will just share my screen one second. Wait a minute. So let me talk about development of minor pieces. So e4, e5. This is the best opening, as I said before. Like when you start the opening, it's all about center control. After controlling the e4, e5 square, you have to concentrate on developing your minor pieces as rapidly as you can. So if you see, I have pasted like the bishop on king, bishop, and knight, or in green and the light square and the c1 bishop. This is like on yellow thing. What I'm trying to mention is like the first three green colored pieces. This is the minor pieces which you have to be developing at the beginning of the game. Whereas the bishop, which is next to a queen, this has a special thing which I will be talking later. Let's start with knight f3 as and keep in general this rule that you have to develop your knights out first and then your bishop. It's not a like predefined thing, but you can keep it in mind while starting out. So now you guys have a lot of things to play here, and the best move is knight c6, which I will cover later. Let's talk about the different choices to defend the pawn on e5 here. Okay, it's d6. This opening is called Philida defense. It's quite passive actually, but The right way to play here from white side is to play pawn move d4. You get the control of the d4 square and e4 square. After when also pressurizing right now on the e5 square. So if they capture with e takes d4 and knight takes d4, you have an absolute control over the d4 square right now, and the knight can jump from like 8 directions. So now I would say white is a slight advantage from the opening. Okay, that's a Philida defense. It's a solid opening but quite passive. Okay, let's look at the next possible move. Let's go with bishop d6. So as I said, it's better always to develop your knight first before the bishop when considering minor pieces. But even though if you play your bishop first, you shouldn't place the bishop on these squares. Like now the bishop is only doing one job of defending the pawn on e5, and it doesn't have much scope here. You see that point, right? You get that point? Okay. So let's go on with the next move, which is bishop c5. I would actually say just give away the pawn on e5 rather than developing on d6. So this move has a tendency to, you get the point, right? The bishop on c5 is more active compared to the bishop on d6. So it is. I will talk about it later in the game. I mean later of the rules. Why it is important to keep your pieces active. And yeah, now let's talk about f6. I've put it a question mark here. Let me tell you why. So first of all, it's a very bad move, and actually I want you guys to think here. If it's a quite little bit difficult to find at the beginning, if you're a beginner, but if you guys can find the right move, just type it on chat, and I will just unmute and ask you about it. Yeah, one person. Arkodita Dutta. Yeah, you have found it right. Knight d5 is the right move. Yeah, let me go over it. So knight d5 is a good move. Yeah. So the idea behind here is, first of all, f6 not only restricts the black's pieces, like black minor pieces coming to f6 square, it also weakens this diagonal. So when you capture on e5, and he has to capture, now you have queen h5 check. Now this one attacks the king as well as the pawn. So you have two choices here. One is to play g6 or king d7. Okay. So yeah, if you play g6, you can capture on e5, the king uses attack and the rook is attack, and you just lose a rook at the right point. And regarding the pieces values, the pawns have 1 point, minor pieces bishop and knight have 3 points, rook has 5 points, queen has 9 points, and king has infinite. If you lose the king, you lose the game, right? So it has infinite points. So g6 loses to the queen at e5, and you have choice like king e7, queen at e5 check, and king f7 is forced, bishop c4 check. Now you have very less choices. Let's say king g6, queen f5 check, king h6, and b4 check. This is very important, guys. So in the beginning of the game, I just mentioned an yellow color over the c1 bishop. That's queen's next bishop. The what I'm saying here is the c1 bishop or the c8 bishop, whatever it is already developed piece which is in your chessboard. So you don't have to move the piece. Like here I didn't even move the c1 bishop right now, but it still has a check over the h6 king. How interesting is it, right? So when you play g5 and h4, now you see the point, right? This is controlling the king, and rook is also coming into the attack. So yeah, that's over. The game is over now, and we're going to capture on hg5, and it's going to be mate in few moves. Okay, so yeah, let's go to the best choice for black here. This is knight c6. Yeah, this is found by a chess player Damiano. He's a Portuguese player. He was in the 14th century actually. Like that time itself, they found out this is the best move. Like after controlling the center, it is important for you to control the if you have to control with your minor pieces, especially knights. So here you see the difference between bishop d6 and knight c6, right? So when you played bishop d6, you wouldn't have much squares to control. Like here, it only defends the pawn on e5, and it doesn't have much scope here. Whereas when you played knight c6, you can see the knight can jump to any number of like 8 squares and also defend the pawn at the same time. That is known as like efficiency. Okay, so yeah. Now I just will show you the few opening theories. It's not principles, just theories. I will show this. This is one of the move. Like opening name is three knights, and the variation will go like knight f6. Now it turns to four knights. It's one of the popular variation, and bishop c4, and it is known as Italian. So these names like the Italian, four knights, and another move which my favorite is bishop b5, relopers. You know these names comes from actually these Rui Lopez is a grandmaster, like he's a chess player, and it is named after him. And the bishop c4 is like a geographical location. The people tend to play over there, and these named after them. Okay, so yeah, this is for the development of minor pieces, and here I will explain about the c1 bishop later in the next rule. If you guys have any questions in this development of minor pieces, please ask me in the chat. Okay. Let's go to the rule number 3 here. Okay, let's talk about king safety. As you know, the one thing which we should not let your opponents do is give a checkmate. So it is always important to safeguard your king in the opening stage of the game itself. I have a rule like it is always good to do a castle before 10 moves. So let me say it. Let's go with the best options available, and I will also show you a game what will happen if you tend to disobey the rule of king safety. First, let me show you a perfect example of what it is to be like protecting your king. e4, e5, the best choices. Knight f3, knight c6, yes, bishop c4. This is the, as I said, it is an Italian variation. Knight f6, okay. Now this is actually opening theory. Okay, there are three choices here. Knight c3 is one of the choice. You also develop your minor pieces, like as I said. So now you only have one piece left. Knight g5. It's an interesting move here. Now you are attacking a pawn on f7. Like you have two forces attacking it, right? Sorry about that. Here, yeah, two forces attacking your pawn, and I don't see any difference here, right? The only move here is to save the game is d5. You don't have to worry about this much. It is actually opening theory, and it is actually good for black. Black can defend it well and also get an initiative. Initiative is a separate big concept which you will be learning later in your game. It is fighting back. So if I take on d5 and it's knight a5, and yeah, as I said, black plays for the initiative, and you don't have to worry much about it. Just knowing it at this time is good enough. Okay, let's go on to the move which I am going to show you, d3. And yeah, the c1 bishop right here is already developed. Just remember that it's not like you have to move this to a particular place and say it is a developed piece, like the bishop on c4. But here it is already developed piece. Bishop c5. Yeah, castling. That's it. And now you're already safe here. That's what I wanted to say. And also black castles. And it's a perfect normal game which you're going to be playing, and it's going to go into the middle game and end game. And you don't have to worry much in the opening stage of the game. You just have to plan for the next phase of the game. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I've seen a lot of questions. Let me check. Okay. Yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, let's move on to the what if you don't protect your king? That's a question, right? What will happen? I will just show a simple example. What will happen if you don't give importance to your king? e4, e6. Any guesses of this opening name? You guys can type in chat. It is also a geographical location. Yeah, that's right. I think one person guessed it. It's French defense. Yeah, that's absolutely right. This French defense is like if you see the world class players, they don't play this much because it's quite passive, but it has lot of intricacies inside the openings. Let's go on. d4, d5. I will just skip these moves. It's a like opening theory. White gives, black gives up the center and he's going for a very compact, solid position. These are all theories actually. Knight f6, knight and f6, knight and f6. Yeah. Bishop g5. Okay. Now you have developed your two minor pieces, and black has only developed one minor pieces. So now it's perfect time for black to remember the rule of king safety and play his bishop to e7 and do his castling. But what black did in the game was he went for b6, which is a bad move here. Let me say why is it a bad move. Okay, knight e5. It's a good move. Now the problem here is the weakness on c6 square. So now the idea behind the b6 is black wanted to activate this c8 bishop, but at the cost of his king safety, he's doing it. He has to remember that. When he played bishop b5, now white came up with a very good move here. Bishop b5 check, king e7. c6 is a very good choice here. You don't lose a pawn because of this takes, takes, takes. He has queen to d5. Sorry. Now this pawn is under attack, and this pawn is under attack, and this piece is under attack. Yeah, he has a choice like to just make it. Also, if knight's in the c6, you can play queen d5, but that's not the point here. We are going to see like black is like, okay, what is going to happen if I make my king move? I can rearrange my pieces. Like if he's going for this knight c6, I'm going to just take it on with my bishop. Yeah, so nothing is happening here. So black is like, okay, well, let me see what is white is going to do with this. So yeah, now white has a very good move here. I want you guys to guess it. Let me see who is coming with the right kind of choice here. Okay, I see people are typing bishop c6. Perfectly possible, yeah. But the bishop c6, if you play that move, no, you black will play queen c8 and defend his bishop. We don't have much choice after that. Yeah, Satish Chandrasekhar has written it right. Queen h5. Yeah, that's a perfect move here. Now again the f7 pawn, as one of the person mentioned, the f7 is always weak. Here it's, yeah, that's true. When the nearby weakest point, I would say, is the f2 or f7. The problem here is black doesn't have any good way to defend the f7 pawn. So if he plays queen e8, I'm going to capture it with my bishop here. That's it. So now again, you don't have a choice but to make the only move here is g6. Now, yeah, what happened after g6 is that f6 knight has become like the protection of f6 knight has been moved. So you have to play, you have to put the pressure again, and bishop to d g7. Now, can you guys guess the move? It's white to play. There are two choices here actually. It's white to play. Yeah, knight g4 is possible, but you have to make sure what happens after queen to d4. I think it's still possible, but queen to d4 defends the d4 here. The best move here is yeah, Kapil Sharma, I think, said it right. It's knight d7. Now you don't have queen to d4 and the f6 knight is gone. This is pretty little bit advanced level. It's fine if you guys don't get it. The basic principle what I'm trying to explain here is king safety. If you neglect your king safety, you can get into these types of problems. That is what I wanted to say it. That's fine, that's fine. So let's go on to the next rule. Okay, let's talk about coordination of pieces. So, as the rule number 4 says, coordination of pieces. It's in chess game. It's like a war where you are the king and you make your soldiers, your army to work together. Similarly, that's what we are going to do here. Coordination of pieces is so important in the opening stage of the game, so that you don't forget like anything. You have to activate all your pieces and they must work in a synchronous manner. So let's go and I will show an example of it. So one second. So if you have any questions, yeah, anytime you can just give me a message. I'm just reading it. Like if you guys don't understand, please don't worry. I will be like asking them to paste these rules and you can go it out and go and read them after some time also. Like in the future, you can just go with it. Yeah, let's go with the coordination of pieces. The best move we are going to play. So as I said, e4 and d4 the best choices to play in the opening, and the best choice for black is to play on e5 to get the central. And what happens if you are not going, like if your opponent is going for like side moves, what happens? Let's like have a quick look at that. G6, okay, d4. Now you have controlled the central squares. That's it. Now you already have a slight advantage in the game. Bishop to g7, knight to f3, d6. You guys must know like black is also playing a bit of theoretical point of view. It's like a modern defense. It's not that black is completely out here. The best thing for black to do is to get some sort of break here with c5 or e5 at some point of time. Sorry. Yeah. If he is not getting the central break, he will be in a very bad situation. So now you guys say it. My c1 bishop, even though it is in the starting position, it is in a developed manner. Knight on g5, Sorry, knight on f3 is also developed. Bishop on c4 is also developed. We have three pieces developed right now. And knight d7. Okay, knight d7 is a bad move. Can you guys guess it? Why is it a bad move? You can just type. Well, yeah, that's right. It blocks the bishop. That's true. Exactly. It blocks the bishop. And yeah, one person also said the right move also. That is bishop into f7. That's true, right? Congrats for finding the move. But the main point here is blocks the bishop. But the tactical theme here is bishop into f7. So what's the point of giving up the bishop? Now the follow-up is, yeah, try knight g5 check. The thing here is you can't go move away from this square, e6 square. In the previously before that, the knight was on b8 and the bishop on c8 was covering the square. But when you block this one, now you don't have any choices. So if you play king f6 and queen f3 is a checkmate. See, the knight on g5 is defended because of the bishop on c1. And if you play king f8 or king e8, what is 4? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Knight e6. It's a family like thing. Queen, king, and the bishop. Yeah. So you see the coordination. Like if you even by just developing the two minor pieces in the starting game and controlling all the center, if one mistake from the black pieces and the game is lost. You're getting the point, right? Okay, let me show you another example here. Really quick. So e4, e5, knight f3, and c6. These are the best moves I am saying. Okay, now black is not playing the best move here. Okay, d6, knight c3, bishop g4. So now black is developing the queen's bishop, which is not so necessary here. And still, white is not like, he has developed all his pieces, only the c1 bishop is not yet developed. And now I'm going to do my king safety thing, just castling. If you guys are not aware of the king castling rule, just check them out. There are two types of rules in that. Okay, so now let's go about it. Black here still avoided the importance of developing the minor pieces and went on with the don'ts. One of the don'ts I'm going to talk about later is not moving this. I mean, you shouldn't move the same piece twice. Knight d4. So, which is actually a kind of good move from black side, and when you see it the first time, because the knight is kind of pinned and they're going to capture on f3 and you're going to have a very bad time here. But white has a very brilliant move here. It's very difficult to find, but if you guys can think it out, it would be nice. Yeah, I think they're pretty good players here. They found out this nice tactical idea. Yeah, exactly. Knight into e5. So see the way what happens when you capture the queen. Bishop f7 check, king here, and knight d5 is the checkmate. That's a queen sacrifice here. And now you see the coordination of your pieces. White didn't do much. White just developed his minor pieces and did a castle. Yeah, that's it they did. And but what happened was a very nice checkmate in the over the board of just 8 moves. So this is the power of developing your pieces and center control and coordinating it together. That's the 4th rule. Let's go with the next rule here. Okay. Now this is not a very big rule here, but I would say like connecting your major pieces is quite important not in the starting of the game, but in the later part of the game. Like I would say, like 15 moves you should have developed and castle, and also connected your both your rooks. So I will just show you what would be an ideal position, not a game, but a position would look like. So first two moves are like controlling the central squares, and next moves are developing your major pieces. Now you have developed your, both the knights. Now you have a choice. The bishops are more of like easily move from one place to other than the knights. So you can develop it anywhere like e2, d3, c4, b5. Any square is fine. Let's develop it on c4. Just have to keep your mind looking at the f7 square. As you must have seen a lot of examples here, all going back into the f7 squares. So this is one way to develop the bishop. And now you don't have to develop on c1, which is casual. Okay, and yeah, now you have to develop your last minor piece. Best square is between these four ones. Let's put it on g5, and now you have already connected your major pieces. Now you can put it here, and these are the like, I would say, one ideal position you can look forward to go towards the middle game. It won't happen every often, but if your opponent doesn't control the central squares and he's not making the right type of choices, you can always get these types of position. It's not an exact precise position, but these the positions you should aim for in the starting phase of the game. Okay, now we have covered all the five rules. If you have any questions, you can ask me right now. Okay, then okay, fine. Let's move. Those are five rules which we are talking, and so this is one simple idea like how do you plan your middle game positions. After the opening stage, it's your middle game. It's you always have to have a futuristic thinking, like what you do in life. You also must be doing in chess. You should have little plan and what to do in the middle game. So I will just show you one idea what is happening. d4 d5 is one of the best choices. c4. Now this is a gambit thing. If he captures on c4, don't worry about it. You can play e4 and just get over the c4 pawn. e6, knight c3, knight f6. This is called as queen's gambit. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Netflix series Queen's Gambit. It is named the Netflix series is named after this opening. Knight f3, yeah, bishop e7. Now, now it's time, I would say, just to plan the things. Now you have developed two minor pieces and two major pieces, and the two bishops are still in the board. As I used to say, like you have to wait for the development of c1 bishop, but you should be thinking like these principles are to be there in your mind, not to be followed like precisely every time. You can break them if you want it. So that's what I'm saying here. If you feel like here you have to move the bishop, you have to move if it is completely needed, or else you have to like go with the principles. So as I said, like you have to move your f1 bishop right now, but it's not possible. You have to like make a choice here. Let's think about the pawn e3, which is a natural choice of opening. Like I'm going to develop my bishop and castle, but the problem here is the c1 bishop, which used to be like active in the previous games which we saw. It's not possible here right now. Okay, let's go. So that's what I'm saying. So you have to think your middle game as well. So you will be like thinking, let's first develop the pieces and do the king castling thing, everything in order. But you should also remember about your pieces. Like the c1 bishop is not yet developed. So it's better to think, if you think it in that way, you will develop your piece here, like bishop g5, and wait for one more move, and now you develop your piece with the f1 bishop is now developed. With the next move, you can play bishop d3 or something. So now the bishop is active outside the pawn chain, and that's what this resembles about the middle game. You have to think a little bit further than just about the next move you're going to make it. Okay, that's a simple idea. It's not a fast fed rule or something. Okay, let's move on to the 5 don'ts in the opening. These are 5 don'ts is like bringing out your major pieces so fast. So what happens if you bring out the major pieces so far? I will just give you a simple example. If queen h5, this is bringing out the queen to very fast, and see what happens here in this game. Bishop c4, and you know this is a scholar's mate, like mating on f7 immediately. This is what I used to play when I was a child. So yeah, but that doesn't work every time. It works only with the people who doesn't know this. Queen f3, knight f6. Now you see black has developed 2 minor pieces, but you have developed your major piece on f3, which is quite bad because black gets to take over the initiative by attacking your queen. Now we are going with your choice. Knight d4. Now the queen is under attack already, and you still wanted to keep your queen in the. So I was talking about the 5 don'ts which you shouldn't be doing in the opening stages. First one was the bringing out the major pieces too fast. So that's what I was showing. Like this is the one scholars made, which everyone first thing to learn in chess is this one only. e4, e5, queen h5. You guys must be aware of this, right? Knight c6, bishop c4, and if he plays knight to f6, you just mate on f7. Simple, easy win. But the thing here is they have a choice, like they can go here. The problem here is black has developed 2 minor pieces, and you have still developed only 1 minor piece, and your major piece is out. The problem with the major pieces being coming out too fast is like the black pieces or the opponent can attack it very easily. So now the queen is under attack and the pawn is under attack. You still wanted to keep the queen on the top of it. You will face a lot of problems, and here black went with the right choice of c6. Okay, so yeah, knight g2, you are developing it. d5, very good move, like controlling the central squares. ed5, and now you see the problem, bishop f5. This is what is called initiative. Like black has sacrificed a pawn and still is going for your queen. Now you have a choice, queen g3 or queen e3. Whatever you play is going to just capture on knight on c2. Now you are under, like, you're going to lose immediately. So this is the problem with that, developing your queen so fast or major pieces. Let's go to the next point. As we are running out of time, maybe I will just quickly show these 5 examples. So next one is unnecessary pawn moves in the opening. Let's say you're going to develop it like this. So what happens here is, like, if you're not controlling the center and just making pawn moves, you will just simply land into some kind of trouble in the game. As a principle, if you're in the opponent side, you just have to follow your principles and go with it, developing your pieces or pawns, everything. Now white has control his center. Let's say he's making some other random moves here, bishop developing, and again he is not following the rule and he's going for this unnecessary pawn move. Do you guys find a good move here? There's one good move always. So yeah, this is bishop into f7. That's right. Queen h5 check, g6, queen d5 check. Yeah, now you just lose a rook. See, that's what happens when you just keep developing your, just moving your pawns without even thinking. This is just one type of example. There are a lot of examples in real games. So next one is don't move the same pieces unless needed. Let's say this is like just an exaggeration, but let's see what is going on. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, I don't know how to, like, remove this one. The people are making it. Okay, it's fine, right? So this is like you just have moving. This is an allocate defense in game, and if you keep moving it, so I'm just showing for an exaggeration of what happens if you're just keeping the same means as moving it again and again. Yeah, that's it. The knight is trapped here. And the simple thing to note is they don't move your same pieces in the starting of the game. It is better to develop all other pieces in the starting position and then you can do whatever you want. And next point is don't forget about hanging pieces. This is simple. The piece which is not protected, you must have an eye on them. They can be lost at any time if you're not thinking about it or looking after it. This is an one example of it. So knight b4 is being played. Now you know what is the move. The knight on b4 is not protected, and can you guys guess? And the last rule and the last thing which you shouldn't be doing in your starting phase of the game is don't forget about inactive pieces. So I am coming back to the French defense. We just saw it. The one main problem with the French defense is his c8 bishop. This bishop, yeah, right here. Because of this pawn chain, no, it can't like really go here because of this pawn. And if you're not aware of it and you just wanted to close the position and you just play this move like c4, what happens is this bishop doesn't have life after that. It can't be going anywhere else. So if now at least you have a choice, like you can play b6 here and maybe exchange here, but it's not still possible because knight f3, you can lose a piece after knight and a6 and queen a4 check. This knight is lost, this is lost, with a similar theme which we saw in the previous one. But at least you know that this is you have a choice of developing it in the later phase of the game. Yeah, and so that's it. So you have to keep a mind on what are the active pieces in the board and what are the inactive pieces, and you always try to make sure that in the later phase of the game at least you want to activate these pieces. Right now if you keep this option without closing the c4 move, you still have a chance to develop this piece in the later phase of the game. So yeah, so these are the 5 don'ts which I am talking about. And so there was one more game I wanted to show, but we are running out of time here. So I just wanted to ask you guys if you guys have any question particular with respect to this one of the 5 rules and the 5 don'ts. You can just ask me or just type in chat. I will just reply to it. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, you can anytime ask me the questions. It's not a problem. Okay, fine. Okay, yeah, then yeah, that's it for today's session. You guys have been a wonderful participants, a little bit naughty about it. That's completely fine. This is also my first thing doing it in Zoom, and I also have like little bit difficulty here. But from next time, I think we will be like doing it in the right manner. And special thanks to PiggyRide for making this workshop happen. And the good news is like PiggyRide will be launching 4 chess courses for all levels, novice, beginner, intermediate and advanced players. And I personally have designed the curriculum for all the 4 courses. It will be available soon, so please do check them out. And if you need any assistance from like regarding this one, if you want to know about more things, you can just mail me or ping me the Instagram. I will just respond to it whenever my time permits. Yeah. Okay, I'll just post my mail ID and Insta ID here for your reference. And yeah, thank you guys. Please stay at home, and if you have to go outside, please do wear a mask.